So good morning, welcome along. Today we're going to be taking this out. I haven't seen one of these in a while and they are very rare and hard to get a hold of at the moment. Absolutely beautiful machine. This is the LXR SE, follow on to the LXR standard. Slightly different bike, and these SEs only come in one colour, which is the red, black and white panels on this. Just a quick look around the bike. Almost identical to the LXR standard. The only difference is being that has got inverted forks at the front that you'd find on the more expensive race bikes. Still got those twin discs to the front as well, single rear disc to the front, single disc to the back of this bike. And the only other addition to it, just check out that aluminium swing arm at the back. Nice single monoshock suspension to the rear, just tucked in front of that hugger, and peg position on this is very, very nice. So there are your two differences: inverted forks, aluminium swing arm, and the other slight difference is you have adjustable front fork suspension on that, so you can adjust your damping on those front forks as well. So that's your differences. Has got an adjustable front brake lever on this as well, and the ride position on this is absolutely superb. Just check out that can as well at the front, and that downpipe, so all in stainless on the front of this. So we're going to take this one out for the customer, give it a ride. I'm looking forward to actually getting one of these out on the road. As a sports bike rider, I absolutely love the LXRs, but this SE is such a better ride. If you happen to be a novice biker, you're not going to notice much difference between the ride of this and the standard LXR, but being an experienced rider, this thing rides oh so much better. Just can tell from just the actual ride quality of the bike, those front forks really do work well, and that aluminium swing arm at the back is absolutely superb. As normal, nice little growl from that engine on this. Exactly the same dashboard as you'd find on the standard LXR, and I do like those nice wide mirrors that are on the front of this as well. Perfect view of that road behind me. So we're going to take this one out, crack some miles up. Now we have done test ride mileage of 5 so far, but obviously the last ride it was absolutely hammering it down, freezing cold. So we decided we're going to get it out on a nice autumn summer morning. Now the roads are still wet, dirty, and the one thing I have picked up on, obviously with the roads at the moment, they are incredibly dirty. There's mud, grit and just grease everywhere. But even on these tyres, it still pulls in great. So we're going to come in on the rear brake first, and that combined braking just does pull it down really, really quickly. It's an absolutely superb bike, and I do love these SEs. The seating position just tucks you in, sports biker feel. It feels like a much bigger bike. It doesn't feel like a 125, and I do love that little purr of that engine. So we're going to get this out into traffic, get our way through the box as quick as we can, and then bring the power on. Just winding that on from 3000 RPM. And obviously with the seating position on this, it tucks your knees into the tank absolutely superbly. Bar position is great as well. It's not full on drop handlebars, so it is quite an upright bar position on this for a sports bike. And we're going to steady it at 45 and then gently ease her back down to 40 again. So that's what I tend to do. A little burst to 45, bring her back down to 40, vary my rev ranges around while we're doing it. Now this one has got the LED indicators in it. It's got your single running lights to the centre, your daytime running light. You can switch it over on the right hand control. The centre position on that will give you those two projector lights to the front and that daytime centre running light. And then when you go into full night mode, all the way across to the left, you get those two projectors come up, and you also get the LED strips above the lights as well. And the lights on this, if you haven't seen the last video when I took the other LXR out very early in the morning, they are super bright and a perfect view of the road on a cold dark morning or even on a cold dark night. Now these, and I have checked the figures, I checked with Lexmoto, have been the best selling registered 125 for the last 6 months. They're outranking absolutely everything in the big brand bike market. Reason being, LXR SE, including your on-the-road fees with us, is $23.90, so the standard bike's $2,300. This one comes out, believe it or not, at $2,499.99, so $2,500. Yeah, so in fact, get that right. LXR, standard LXR $2,199, and this is $2,400, so there's £300 difference between the bikes. So always check it out what the dealer does with his on the road fees. But LXRs, there are plenty about at the moment. We've just got a fresh stock of LXRs. I've got 2 more white ones coming in the next couple of weeks, but these SEs you cannot get for love or money, and I can see the reason why. For the extra £300 I would so spend the extra. LXR standard rides absolutely superb, but the feel of this one, and if you're an experienced rider you'll know what I mean, it's like comparing sort of a, if I go from my Kawasaki range, it's like comparing sort of the ZX1000 to something like the SE version, which is just a sports edition, little better ride quality, and you can just throw it around a hell of a lot more. Now obviously one of my videos we did have a comment about tyres. How sticky are the tyres? They're great in the summer, really sticky. I have had one of these right over and knee down on a test ride, and that was at just 40 miles an hour, so you can lean these over quite a way and the tyres do stick. They're obviously in wet weather. I'd always say take it a little bit easy, you're on fresh rubber, but it does the job on the wet roads. I don't have a problem riding these tyres on wet roads. And low speed handling, look, there we go. So I'm just doing 4 miles an hour and it absolutely plants itself. Nice line, lovely low speed stability. It's got a nice low centre of gravity on this one compared to other bikes. And as usual, the lights on the roundabout are out again, which is good for me because I can go all the way around. Obviously being aware of other car users trying to sneak into my lanes. That's what shoulder checks are for, guys. Absolutely lovely riding position through the corners. Obviously on the wet and slippy road I'm not going to lean her over too far this morning. But we're taking this one out for the customer, get some miles on it. And just check out the overall running of this bike. The indicators are all good, lights are all good. Horn on these are lovely and loud, and I'll do a horn test in just a while when I've got a bit of empty road, just to show you how loud that horn is in traffic. So your pegs, I'd say, are set back about 2 inches from centre line, so it does tuck your legs back into the back of the bike. That puts your knees perfectly into that tank cutout, so your knees are tucked in ever so good. And obviously I've got 32-inch inside leg, and I'm tucked in very nicely. And obviously once you've run the bike in and you are up to top speed, now I'm riding this quite upright, but it is very, very comfortable just to tuck yourself down, steady your stomach over that tank and get yourself down over those bars, just to get rid of that wind resistance. And what a perfect riding style. So it can get tucked in quite well with them elbows in to get yourself down behind the bubble, as they would say. But I absolutely love these. And obviously, if you have seen the other videos of another blogger riding these, he actually went full on and sports can, upgraded EFI on it, and he did push it right up in those figures. And obviously we always say 40 mile an hour for the first 500k, get a service done, 50 mile an hour up to 1500k. Once you've got your second service out the way, the world is your oyster. You can open these up. But what I'd always say with any 125, it's not about the speed, it's about how reliable it is. Is it going to get you to work and back without any issues? If you do your maintenance, you look after it, is it going to be a good bike for the longevity? And the answer is yes. Any 125 is a good bike. It's all down to the rider looking after the bike, not ragging it straight out of the box, doing your maintenance, doing your servicing regime, keeping that bike clean. Road dirt and salt is the worst enemy for any motorcycle, and any bike will rust, as we always do with every customer's bike that comes in. The obligatory coat of ACF 50 over the bike, or any anti-corrosion preventer on the bike, but keep it washed, keep it dried off. If you take a bike out at night and you bring it home, it's soaking wet, just get a cloth and just wipe it down. Now if you're keeping it outside, keep it under a cover. Motorcycle covers are cheap as chips, you can get them up for about 25 quid. If you've got a garage at home or a carport, put your bike under the garage or the carport. Mine sits outside in all weathers. Now luckily I've got a little lean-to on the side of the house, so my bike just sits under there, no cover on it, but it does get ACF'd every weekend. So that is my normal Sunday morning thing. Get the bike out, run it up, even if I'm not riding, get a little bit of a wash down on it, give her a dry off, put a coat of ACF 50 on her, and she's good to go for another week. So we're currently 10 miles in and about halfway through my ride test mileage on this. Now the other question that people have asked me, what are these like? Obviously if you're a heavier rider or going uphill. So what I normally do on my ride circuit is take it up this. Now this is called the Brickhill Hill. It's one of the steeper hills in Brickhill, and it's the main road out of Milton Keynes as well. Now the road starts off quite flat actually, and then all of a sudden dirty great big incline. Now I'm going to lock the throttle out. I'm going to lock that out at 42 to 43 mile an hour. Keep my hand in exactly the same position, holding 5,500 revs, and let's just see how many miles an hour I lose just holding it at 5,500. And I think so far I'm still sat at 42, still at 5,500. Now we're getting onto the big incline. And revs dropping back a little bit. I'm still at the same throttle position. Obviously with that steep incline, she's pulled it back to 5,200 revs and at 41. So there's about 1 or 2 mile an hour loss climbing a hill, but she's doing the job. She's climbing the hill. Obviously coming back down the other side, it's going to be even more fun. But it climbs the hill absolutely perfectly. And then you've always got the option just to get yourself a little bit more beans on the throttle and just keep the speed up anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to crank up a little bit more mileage on this one. And I shall come back in when we're back on the urban circuit, but loving this LXR SE at the moment. Absolutely lovely. So see you guys in just a few. So we're just coming back now off of the dual carriageway mileage, coming back onto the urban ride circuit. And just folding back into traffic, and I just love how car drivers cut roundabouts. The one thing you have to be aware with, car drivers drive, and I always say drive or ride, as if everybody is out to kill you. It's the easiest way to remember how to ride your bike. So currently 17.5 miles on the bike. Last couple of miles or so to put onto the bike. But otherwise, riding absolutely superb, no issues at all with this LXR SE. Beautiful little ride. So, if you are in the market for LXR SE, easiest way to find one, Lexmoto pages, lexmoto.co.uk, up the top end, and it will say find a dealer. Have a look in there, put your postcode in, that will give you the nearest 6 dealers. There's bound to be someone that's got one, but these are as rare as anything at the moment, in very, very high demand for the SEs as well as the LXRs. A link to Lexmoto down the bottom end, that's for their website. If you happen to be after a 125 or you want a twist and go scooter, check out Eclipse Motorcycles. Their link and the website and the phone number down the bottom right hand side. Put that down there for you. And also, if you fancy following the guys at Eclipse or myself, RB, easiest way to do it, off of my website, breathbomb.co.uk. Link down the bottom to the page. That'll give you Eclipse Motorcycles on the first page, on the opening page down the bottom. All my social media is on the social media page. Check all that out. Pop across, that's the Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and the Facebook. New A-Team van. Sort of. And as always, if you enjoyed it, click like down the bottom end, put your comments in. As we always say, like and subscribe. Give us a big thumbs up if you like it. Love to hear your comments on these SEs. Notifications bell, click on that. That will give you notifications when my next video is up. Until the next ride, guys, if you are still out riding your bike, as I know most of you are, but obviously social distancing, be well, ride safe, and from RB and the crew, it's a big goodbye from me.